Yesterday, President Trump held a press conference in the Oval Office announcing that he was moving Space Command, which is part of the military that deals with national security in space, satellite communications, missile warning systems, things like that, moving them to Alabama and expected to bring tens of thousands of jobs to the region. And this upset countless twits on Twitter and liberal lunatics online, not because he's moving Space Command down there, but because he is alive. Over the Labor Day weekend, Trump derangement syndrome hit unprecedented levels, and countless complete lunatics were speculating and believing and hoping, obviously, that he had died because he hadn't held a press conference or stood in front of cameras for a week. The craziness spread so far and wide that when he did have the press conference, it generated headlines like this: Donald Trump breaks silence on health after death hoax. This from Politico. Trump denies he's dead. I wouldn't call it a hoax. I would call it a death delusion. And this is how delusional they are. This was posted by the Republicans Against Trump account on Twitter, which has almost 1 million followers, saying that it's been almost a week since Trump made a public appearance or spoke to the press, apart from being spotted leaving the White House, allegedly on his way to the golf course. This is very unusual. What's going on? And they posted this photo on the left, which was taken from a big distance, probably from an iPhone, zoomed in as far as they can go, super pixelated, bad light, just a terrible quality photo. And then they used, quote, AI to enhance it because they thought it looked strange. And AI can do some amazing things with photos, as you know, but it can also mess them up horribly and just distort faces. And it just still isn't, quote, intelligent enough to always get it right. And so somebody used AI to, quote, enhance the photo and to like upscale it into, an HD photo. And it completely botched it, made it look like there was a growth coming out of his forehead. And it made his eyes look all weird. And so instead of realizing that the AI messed up, they posted that and spread it around that it was an enhanced photo. And that was more evidence that something was terribly wrong. WTH, what the hell? Did Trump have a decompressive hemicraniectomy? What is that skin flap? Posted this lunatic. And these people are not being sarcastic. They really are concerned. They don't understand what's going on. And then they posted a screenshot of SSFS, a rare but dangerous complication after a decompressive hemicraniectomy for a malignant stroke. Liberal Lisa in Oklahoma posted the same photo saying, look at Trump's left eye. He's definitely had a stroke. These posts spread so far and wide that millions of people saw them. Oh, finally, I got a community note there. 7.5 million people saw this moron's tweet. And it's probably a monetized account, so they don't even really care. That's part of the reason, one of the major reasons why Twitter X has just turned into complete engagement slop, fake news slop. Because with people's accounts monetized, the way that the platform is, it's way different than YouTube. People's fake news can spread so far and wide and go viral in a short period of time, getting them 7 million views and raking them in a bunch of money. This Wu-Tang fan account is suspicious because President Trump had his hair tucked into his hat. So where's his hair? 1.5 million views on that. This photo posted by Trump's team today appears to have been edited with an app, such as FaceApp, to give him an artificial smile. Also, zoom in on the facial expressions of the folks in the background, just because he had a strange smile. And again, a low-quality photo, and so his eyes weren't exactly clear. Like I said, many of them were hoping that these delusions were true, like this guy who thought it was funny to say, feels like we might have had a stroke of good luck. Everybody knows the left can't meme because they are memes, but this was one of their attempts to meme this delusion. Melania with a shovel with the caption, I make grave for husband now. It just continued to go off the rails from there, with people saying that they heard rumors that there were 3 helicopters leaving the White House in the direction of Walter Reed, the medical hospital where presidents get their medical care. Then rumors went rampant that some of the roads to Walter Reed Medical Center had been shut down, and this is more evidence that they were covering up what was happening because President Trump must have been taken there And they're trying to stop the media from getting there and covering it. Even posting screenshots from some map apps showing indeed that there are small sections of roads closed because the hospital is on a military base and certain roads are inaccessible to the public. And so those are thankfully noted in the app so that if you're navigating around that area, you're not going to turn down those areas and try to go down them. The wannabe TikTok and Instagram influencers further spread the insanity. You could see the glee in her eyes through her, well, maybe you can, through her half-inch of Bondo that she has applied to her face. Makeup.
Okay, not to speculate, but I do have my Sherlock Holmes hat on, so I'm going to take a stab at it. I think that Donald Trump has had a stroke, and they don't know what to do because I think that his speech and his language or his voice has been affected in some way. Because besides being your resident funny girl, I am actually a speech and language pathologist in real life, and I have my master's degree in communicative disorders. And I also...
And so that means if the president doesn't do a press conference in 5 days or a week or whatever it had been, it must be because he had a stroke and can't talk anymore. Then when yesterday's press conference was announced on Monday, that added more fuel to the foolishness, with people speculating that President Trump was going to be announcing that he was going to have to step down, or that J.D. Vance was going to make the announcement that President Trump was dead, with Harry Sissy, TikTok's biggest soy boy and Democrat operative, favorite Gen Z operative over there, even chiming in, "Whoa! Donald Trump is making an announcement tomorrow at 2 p.m. Interesting." And at that press conference, he was asked about these delusions, and he hadn't heard about them because they were just so foolish that there was really no need to brief the president that a bunch of crazies believe that he's dead. So he had no idea what Peter Doocy was even talking about.
President Trump, something completely different, but about a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see you for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I didn't see that. You know, I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do him for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape.
Now, he has had some recent health problems, causing his ankles to swell, and looks like he's getting intravenous treatments on his hand, which is causing some bruising. So they are covering that up with makeup, just so it's not unsightly. But that is sort of the basis for this delusion. Someone who did die over the weekend, however, or rather a bunch of people, were 8 people in Chicago, 58 people shot, but thankfully survived. 8 fatal, because every 3-day weekend in Chicago, it is an absolute war zone in the black community. I mean, what's next? Is the mayor going to blame President Trump? Oh, wait, what's this?
Shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration continues to put politics over people.
President Trump's fault, even though this has been happening every 3-day weekend for decades. I mean, really, like twice every night on non-holidays, and then dozens and dozens of them on 3-day weekends. And here he is urging his residents to fight back, not against the gangs and the thuggery and the black crime problem, but to fight back against President Trump, who's planning on sending the National Guard there to try to clean up that mess.
Are you prepared to defend this land that was built by slaves, a land that was built by indigenous people, a land that is built by workers?
What did the indigenous people build again, other than teepees?
Are you prepared to defend this land?
If that's all you heard, you would assume that he's talking about defending the land from the gangs and the thugs, but no, wait for it.
The people united will always prevail. I need you all to stand firm, to stand strong. If this president decides to continue to break this Constitution,
to try to clean up crime in America's crime-infested cities, Democrat-controlled, certain demographic situations going on in them as well. You're not supposed to talk about. Here's the Illinois governor who looks like he's losing weight, maybe for a presidential run. Either that or he finally started listening to his doctor and is trying to ward off a pending quadruple bypass surgery or a fatal heart attack.
You're going to hear people, especially this past weekend, 54 shot, 7 dead.
Yeah.
They're going to say the city's not safe. Would you ask your friends to ride the L after midnight or after, 9 o'clock at night even to come down
After sundown even.
to the city from O'Hare?
Look, big cities have crime. There's no doubt about it. But let's just pay attention to what President Trump is doing targeting Chicago. He's overlooking red states that have much higher crime rates.
This is the ultimate deflection because everybody with a brain, which obviously is only maybe half of the country, knows that the red states, and Gavin Newsom has been playing this line, the red states that have high crime problems are in the Democrat-controlled big cities in those red states, okay? Because, well, they're Democrat-controlled and they have large black populations. Like Milwaukee. But the police union there is welcoming President Trump sending the National Guard. Milwaukee, I think, has a higher black crime rate than Chicago per capita. Obviously, there's a lot more crimes and killings down there, but because Milwaukee is significantly smaller, I believe per capita, it's very close, at least, to the crime problem in Chicago. This is why I launched my Cops Lives Matter shirt years ago, which you can still order from my online store at markdice.com, because around here we care about law and order. Or if that's not your style, you can get the alligator Alcatraz shirt, available in 2 different styles, the large design on the front or the pocket style. There's not a pocket on there, but I think that's what it's called when it's just kind of off to the side. Hey, sorry, no vacancy, deport them all shirt. A War is a Racket shirt, or any of my awesome designs. All available in a t-shirt, long sleeve, and a hoodie, and a tank top, and women's cuts as well. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.